We are currently sat on the roof of a building in West London. Yeah, West London, and it's very nice.
Blacking in and out in a strange flat in East London.
The first record I had that was mine was bought for me by my dad from the half price at Waterloo Station on his way home from work, and it was Iron Maiden's Killers, which not something my dad's particularly into, but I'd expressed an interest, and he was sort of attempting to be a good father, so he bought it for me, and both my parents still regard that as the moment when everything went wrong in my adult life. So I was about 10 years old. I still love that record. Right. The whole business of how you organise your record collection is something that I've spent many long sleepless nights thinking about, and actually my brother-in-law and I have long arguments about this. So I alphabetise, right? Although, you know, where do you put various artists? That's a tough one. Splits are a tough one as well. Stuff like Mr. Bungle, right? He puts them under B, but it should be under M, because it's not an actual person called Mr. Bungle, it's the name of a band. Here's the thing, I'm such a sucker. We're talking about Iron Maiden again, and they did a thing a few years ago where they re-released their entire discography, but in such a way that if you buy them all and put them all, then all the spines print out a new picture of Eddie. So I bought them all. The first time I saw a Million Day record in the store would have been probably, the first single that we did with Extra Mile was called Smiling at Strangers on Trains, and that was in shops, so I'm pretty sure I went and got that in the shop. Actually, I seem to remember that the other thing about it was that we'd signed pretty much every single one. So it was kind of a bit weird going into the shop and then seeing it, and it was, I'd sort of already held this thing in my hand and then gone into the distribution network and come out the other end. I think independent record stores are really important. I think they're increasingly important. There's so much music around, you know, and so you get a store like Banquet, for example, which is my favourite, and it's the level of attention to detail and the kind of how bespoke it is, that's what gives it value, you know. And there's many times that I've just gone to Banquet of an afternoon, a little bit of cash in my pocket with no idea what I'm planning on buying, you know, and I'll have a conversation with somebody there, they'll recommend something, I'll have a listen to something, whatever, and then end up walking away with something that I wasn't expecting at all. I think one of the things that is good about record stores is the kind of physical meeting place aspect of it. You know, for me, like when I was a kid, part of the deal of going to a record store is that you could meet people who like the same music as you, and I didn't go to school and really like the same music as me. So you'd go down and there'd be somebody wearing a Descendants t-shirt and it'd be like, oh my god, we need to hang out, you know, and you could make friends that way. And I've got a ton of friends who I met in Selector Disc, you know, or whatever, and it was important to me. This year, of course, we're doing a limited, I think it's 1,000 pressing, burgundy red vinyl, but I'm doing 3 gigs on Record Store Day. I'm starting the day at Rough Trade East, and then I'll be heading over to Sister Ray and Berwick Street, and then I'll be finishing the day, of course, at Banquet Records, lots of installs, lots of playing for cool people. Am I going to buy some records myself as well? Don't just go there on Record Store Day, go there every other day as well. Do you know what I mean? Go there once a week, you know, and I will, you know, buy records. There's a kind of electro grindcore crossover thing called, the first record was called Atom Smasher. I've got the original pressing of the first record, but then when he did his second record he had to change his name to Phantom Smasher. I bought that as well, but then they re-released the first album as Phantom Smasher, but I've got the first pressing as Atom Smasher, and the question is, do I put one under A and one under P, or do I put them both under P, or indeed both under A? And I swear to God, every now and again I just wake up in the middle of the night, go downstairs and swap them around because it's making me uncomfortable.
This will all be over.
Can I just give you... Can you also apologise for the wind? Yeah. Just for our... That sounds terrible, that could mean something else.